Hey, what's up, naughty community? Welcome back to my naughty hobby for another easy to follow crochet tutorial with Amber. And today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the sunrise stitch sequence, which is this one here. And if you're new to my page, this is the first official tutorial of, I guess, the fall season. I know it's not quite fall yet, but you know, we are really rounding that corner, and I've been creating so much stuff for you. I'm excited to share this. If you're new to crochet and a pattern like this is looking intimidating, I would like to encourage you to stay for a little while and check out my teaching technique to see if it will mesh for you and if it's as easy to follow as so many of my followers are saying. Hi, Jessica. Happy to see some people jumping on. I'm going to give people just probably a minute or two so they don't miss the beginning of the tutorial. I know how frustrating that can be if you're looking forward to something and you end up missing the first portion. So this will be posted on my page after it is complete. So if you're jumping on, you know, later or in this tutorial, you can always go back and watch it again when we're finished. For this specific tutorial, I'm going to be using a 3.5 millimeter hook and some, I don't know if it's worsted weight. Let's see here. I'm going to be using this Whims Merino wool that I have, and let's see what the size is for here. This is a 3 light. You can use any size hook and material that you have available to you though. I did find that this specific yarn calls for a 4 or a 5 size hook. I dropped mine down to a 3.5 because it was a little bit too floppity when I worked it up the first time. And something else I want to mention real quick before we get started is I'm going to be doing the beginning of this a little bit different. If you can see right here, we have kind of this raw edge. In the tutorial, we're going to be doing a foundation row, and the reason why I chose to do that is because it makes it a lot easier for you to put a border on once you're done creating whatever it is that you're making with this stitch sequence. I do have some written instructions that I'm going to be following. Yay, go me. Typically with these stitch sequences, I find it easier to teach them by showing you guys, and the written version can get a little bit confusing. However, I do have tons of people who request a written portion, so you'll be seeing me reference this throughout the pattern, but I will also post these written instructions for you in the comments of this tutorial once we're all finished. I haven't figured out how to do that while I'm actually live, so sorry that I can't get those to you as we go through this, but let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, Crystalline. Hi, Sunshine. Hi, Gloria. I see some of my top fans jumping on, and it seriously warms my heart. Like, I took like a 2-month hiatus from crochet through the summer, and the fact that all of you guys are coming back, thank you. I appreciate you so much. But we're going to get started. All right, so in order to get this pattern to work up correctly, we're going to be working in multiples of 12 plus 1 for our foundation chain. And if you're confused on what a foundation chain is or why in some patterns you're going to see this 12 plus 1 and for your entire pattern, that always used to confuse me, but that means that in your beginning row that you'll have this multiple of 12 plus 1 extra stitch. That can be confusing when you're using a starting chain, because you might think, okay, a multiple of 12, but then you need to count in your turn chain. So you see that we're going to chain 26 here, and that's more than the 12 plus 1. It's actually 12 plus 2. That's just, you know, we are just including that turn chain. So let's go ahead and start by chaining 26. Of course, I got my nails done almost 2 weeks ago, and They didn't start shipping until yesterday for this tutorial. I was like, perfect. Good morning, Julia. It has been a long time. I'm happy to see you here this morning. So again, we are chaining 26. Get a little bit better in focus. There's 12. So there's our start chain. Good morning, Connie. Now in our second chain from our hook, this one right here, we're going to single crochet into that one and into each of our stitches across to give us our foundation row. And if any of the stitches that I use in this tutorial today are unfamiliar to you, with the exception of the picot or picot, I'm not sure how to say it. I have video tutorials on my page for those. Again, if you're just jumping on and you want to try to play catch up real quick, we did a chain of 26, and then in our second chain from our hook, we're single crocheting and into each of the stitches across. This foundation row is going to just help give you a nice straight edge to work into when you go to work a border. Depending on how many multiples you do, I would suggest writing the number of stitches that you originally start out with, because you won't need to do this solid foundation row again until the very end, and you might have forgotten how many multiples you did. That'll just keep your work a little bit straighter. Oops. Splitting my yarn there. Oh, thank you, Linda. I really appreciate that. I try to make these tutorials easy for you guys to follow, because I was once a beginner crocheter, feeling all types of intimidated by patterns and frustrated when I would go to a tutorial and it would either be full of ads or unclear and hard to reach the creator. So here's our foundation row. It's gonna bug me. This won't be part of the actual sequence till the end. Gonna just bring up the written portion now. We just finished this row 1. So if you're following exactly with me, you should have 25 stitches. And you'll only see my stitch count right here, and that's because I want to be able to go back and reference how many I did. So for row 2, we're going to single crochet in our first stitch. We'll skip 3 stitches and single crochet in the next. And we're going to do that all the way across. So you'll chain 1, turn your work. In this first stitch right here is where you're going to place your single crochet. We're going to chain up 5. Skip our next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in this next one. We're going to follow that pattern all the way across. So there's 5 chains here, skipping 3, single crochet into the next. Hi Jean, hope you're having a good morning. Hope you guys all have a nice, delicious cup of coffee in front of you. Skipping 3, 1, 2, 3. Skipping 3 and single crocheting into the next. Five chains, skip that 3, should be looking like this so far. We'll do one more set of those chain 5 here. And then 1 single crochet into our last stitch. So at the end, it should be looking like this. Just going to pull up our pattern for reference quick. We're on row 3 here. We're going to start with a chain 5, single crochet in our 3rd chain, which this is where I find it so much easier. It gets real wordy. So we're going to chain 5. And it doesn't matter if you chain 5 before you turn or after. It really is just about preference. In this case, this chain 5 is going to count as our first stitch, these first 3 chains, and then we have this skip 2. Something worth mentioning when you are working in a sequence pattern, especially like this one here, your beginning will always match your end because we are working with a pattern. So if you're confused with what you're supposed to have, look back at the beginning of that row, and that will be the stitch that you will always use in your last stitch. You want them to match. So that's just kind of something once you start getting the rhythm of this pattern to pay attention to. Now, it's not necessary for you to go through these loops, but I did find that it makes it a little cleaner looking in your overall project, at least in my preference. So instead of just like doing this single crochet under our chain, I'm actually going to go through that 3rd loop right here. You should be able to count over 1, 2, 3. That's the one that you're always going to crochet into, in this pattern at least. So if you have a tendency to do your chains super tight, you might want to make sure that that 3rd one is just a little bit looser so you can actually work into it right here. All right, so now we will be working into the next chain 5 space. We're going to place 8 double crochets. So if you're not familiar with the double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook and pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2 of the loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining loops. We'll do a total of 8 of those into this chain 5 space. Hi, Carol. I think that's 8. Let's just count to be sure. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now we're not going to do any chains here, but again, we're going to be working into that third chain of our chain 5 space with a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5. And we're going to do a single crochet into the third chain of our next chain 5 space. So again, I'll just count over 1, 2, 3 of those back bumps and place a single crochet. Into the next chain 5 space, we're going to do 8 double crochets. There's 7. And 8. Okay, so here now we are going to again go into that third bump of the chain 5 space and single crochet. I'm just referencing my pattern here. Okay, then we will chain 2 and double crochet into our last stitch. Again, I'm just going to check real quick that my end is matching my beginning, which I told you guys in the beginning, the first 3 chains were our first stitch, chain 2, so double crochet, chain 2, everything matches up and is looking good so far. So we're going to go ahead and move on to row 4, which if you guys just wanted to see real quick. For this row 4, we're going to chain 1, single crochet in our first stitch, and then when the spot that we put those 8 double crochets, we will double crochet picot in the next 7 stitches, double crochet in the next, I think that's supposed to say next stitch, and then single crochet in third chain of our chain 5. Gets to be a little wordy much, huh? Okay, so we don't have any chains yet. I'm going to chain 1, turn our work, single crochet into our first stitch. Now we're going to go straight into those picots, which these are really super easy, and there might be a different name for this stitch. If there is, I'm not aware of what it is, but we're just going to create a double crochet, and then you're going to do 3 chains. Again, I would suggest not doing these too tight because we're actually going to be working back into this bump, the top of our double crochet. We're going to place a slip stitch. Let's see here, under this one. And you've created your first picot, whatever it is. We're going to do that in the next, we just did the first one, a total of 7 of these. So in the next 6 stitches, if you're not a huge fan of counting, you can just kind of keep in the back of your mind that you do picots in every one of the previous double crochets except for the last one. thought these little picots made the stitch sequence look a lot like a sunrise, though. That's where I got the idea to call it that, especially with this color. Thanks for sending love hearts. Hold on just 1 second, you guys. I think my kids are on Roblox, which always messes with my connection. Hey, Kyson, you need to get off of the computer because I'm live right now and you're taking up all my bandwidth. Okay, you need to log off. Make sure that Layla's not on her Roblox either, okay? She's on her computer. Please go tell her to get off. Thank you. Sorry about the pixelation, guys. My kiddos haven't started school yet, and Roblox is their choice of poison lately, and double crochet in the last one, remember? Anytime they're on there, it steals our internet connection. So sorry about that. All right, double crochet in the next, single crochet in the third chain of our chain 5. Jean's asking what size of thread am I using, and this is a 3 light. So there's our single crochet, and we are going to start directly into those picot stitches again. Hopefully, now that the kiddos are jumping off of their game, the image is clearing up for you guys. Just to give you a little bit closer view of the picot, hopefully without it going out of focus. It's just a double crochet. Then a better view of where I'm going into. You can count 2 bumps down. It's going to be this one right here. You just put a slip stitch. Yep, kiddos go back to school on Thursday, and my kids will be doing a part-time face-to-face and part-time online. So Tuesdays and Thursdays will probably be the days that I'm able to get tutorials out to you guys. And I have so much stuff that I've already created and also in the process of getting written up. And I always welcome stitch tutorial requests. My most recent one from one of my followers was the Alpine Stitch. And so you guys will be seeing a demonstration of that hopefully sometime this month, though I do already have my lineup filling up, so we will see, but that is going to be a tutorial that we get done. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. At the end of the picot one, we are going to end with a single crochet into the third chain or bump, however you want to view it as. There's no wrong way there. Crochet is so versatile that sometimes you got to do what feels good in your hands and what looks aesthetically pleasing to you. So this is the end of our row 4. As you can see, I'm just going to check up single crochet in our first stitch, single crochet in our last stitch. So let's go ahead and get started on row 5. We're going to chain 8. I put that at the end of row 4, but we're going to chain 8 and turn our work. And then we're going to single crochet in our 3rd picot, chain 5, single crochet in the 5th picot, chain 5, double crochet in our single crochet, chain 5, and end with a chain 5 double crochet in our last. And maybe this style of like reading off the pattern is super irritating to you guys. If it is, please don't hesitate to give me that feedback, because I want to do what is easiest for you guys to follow and you find the most helpful. So I'm just trying new things over here. Turning our work after we chain 8. So we'll skip these first 2 and we're going to work a single crochet just like into the center of them. You could even go into this space a little bit, but then you don't get as much definition on that peak of that picot. So I go right here in this space, going to do a single crochet. And you probably notice here, my index finger, I'm putting it through that chain to hold tension so I have an even stitch. You know, it's just another way of controlling tension. That was another thing I really struggled with when I first started crocheting, was getting control of that tension. Make sure that you're using your other fingers as you work along, and as you get the rhythm of your pattern down, it will help you immensely. So now we're going to chain 5. That's 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip this next picot, and into the 5th one, we're going to do another single crochet. Should look just like that. And because I like my work to always look even, you should have 2 picots on this side and 2 on this side, 1 in the center, to keep your work centered as well. Now we will, is it a chain 5? Yes. We're going to chain 5 again. And then double crochet into that single crochet in the center here that we created from our previous round. And to keep it matching from our last little section, we're going to chain 5. Again, skip the first 2 and into the 3rd one. Put a single crochet, chain 5, in the 5th picot, man, I just don't even know, you guys. We're going to do another single crochet. And we're going to end with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains and a double crochet into our last stitch. Which, if the first 3 chains of our chain 8 count as our first stitch, it lines up with our beginning and end with those 5 other chains there in the beginning. Hi, Dawn. I'm doing the sunrise sequence, which will look like this once it is complete. The video will be posted on my page after the tutorial is finished for your viewing pleasure to come back and back it up as many times or pause it when you need to. Okay, we did picot, so now we are on row 6. We're going to chain 5, single crochet in our 3rd chain of chain 5. So instead of reading all of this off to you, I'm going to opt to show you because it's real wordy on this row. So let's do it step by step. Chain 5, And if you guys are enjoying this tutorial, I would really appreciate if you shared it for your other hooker friends to also follow and watch me. The more you guys share my work, the more that it gets seen, obviously. And I'm trying to grow like the biggest, naughtiest community here on Facebook. So any shares or comments are very much appreciated. Okay, so we did our chain 5. We're going to single crochet into that third chain of our chain 5. Well, technically yeah, that is the chain 5. So perfect. And we're going to start right back on to creating these sun, like I guess these sunrises or however you want to call them. I'm going to do 8 double crochets into our next chain 5 space. There's 4. So there's 8 of our double crochets to create another little sun. 8. Okay, in the next chain. Okay, so third chain of our chain 5, we're going to single crochet, chain 5, and do another single crochet into the third chain of our next chain 5 space. And then again, we're going to do 8 double crochets into that chain, our next chain 5 space. Hi, Tara. Thanks for jumping on this morning. Debbie's saying she really likes the written instructions. Thank you for the feedback, and I will be sure on that comment once this is posted live to post a photo of the written instructions for you so you don't have to go searching through the entire thread. I do always go back and read comments just in case I may have missed anybody and didn't address an issue. I do usually spend a few days replying to comments and, helping out where I can if you're getting stuck, or like I said, if I happen to miss your comment as it comes in. We're on row 6, so we are going to end with a single crochet into our, I believe this is how this one was worked. Yep, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, and then into the third bump. It might be easier for you to count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. We will double crochet. Man, that feels a little weak, a little loosey-goosey there. But it matches. We're almost done with the sequence. We're now moving on to row 7, which, since I saw that Debbie enjoyed seeing the written instructions, we're going to be chaining 1, single crochet in our first stitch. And if you're curious what these little markers mean, that is just showing where the repeat is going to start. So we'll double crochet picot in our next 7 stitches, double crochet in the next, single crochet in the third chain of our chain 5, and then we will repeat that to the end of this row and end with a single crochet into our third chain. So again, that's chain 1 and turn our work. Single crochet into our first. We're going to do those picots into the next 7 stitches. Come on. Oh, thank you, Allie. I really appreciate that. Sorry if my video is being a little bit glitchy. Probably since about last month, aside from my kids, you know, being on Roblox and stuff, our internet has just been so shaky and weird. So I apologize if my image is not coming in clear to you guys. It looks really clear on my end, but I know that, you know, that can kind of vary depending on your connection as well. I don't have Spectrum, I have Consolidated for our internet provider. So here's our last double crochet of our, you know, that 8 double crochet. And remember, those ones don't do the picot. We're going to place a single crochet in the 3rd chain of our next chain 5 space, and then start directly back into the picots again. Hi Annabella, I am doing the sunrise stitch sequence, and it will be posted on my page after it's finished, so you can watch it from the beginning. Looks like we got 2 more, so 1 more of these special stitches. Thank you, Shelly. I appreciate that. And Tara's asking, what size hook are you using? I'm using a 3.5 millimeter hook and number 3 lightweight fiber today. This stuff is dreamy to work with, by the way. I'm working with a really nice merino wool. Okay, we are going to now end just with a single crochet in our 3rd chain. Always check in to make sure because this sequence is almost over, that my beginning matches my end. And now we are going to work the last row of this sequence. We're going to chain 8. 2, 3 stands for our first stitch, counts as a double crochet, and the last 5 are going to be just a chain 5 space that we create. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a total of 8. Turn your work, and we're going to work the same way that we did the last time we did the picots, which is you're going to skip the first 2, and into the third you will do a single crochet, chain 5, and into the 5th picot, or if it's easier for you, you'll skip the next and work a single crochet into that next one. Let's see here, we're going to chain up 5 and double crochet into that center single crochet. I forgot to show you guys the written instructions. Sorry. Again, they'll be posted though. So there's that double crochet, chain 5, skip the first 2, work a single crochet into the next, chain 5, thanks, Marianne. I think this would make a beautiful shawl. I always have shawls on my mind when I do new stitch sequences. I love them. They don't take as long as a blanket, but I think they're, they're just beautiful and can be utilized all year long. So I'm going to look at my first. So we're going to do a chain 5. So we have our chain 5 space just like we do in the beginning. And as you may have guessed, we're going to do a double crochet into our last stitch. So this is the sequence complete. If you wanted to continue on and make this longer and longer, once you guys actually see this written portion, we're just going to be repeating rows 3 through 8 until you reach your desired length. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I would evenly place my single crochets along the top of this piece if you're wanting to add a border. See how we have our straight piece here to work into? So when you're ready to start your border, I would just chain 1. First I'm going to look because I haven't actually sat and figured it out with how many spaces we have. I told you in the beginning of the video that when you decide whatever multiple of 12 you're going to do for your pattern, that you should write down that beginning stitch. So we're going to fit 25 single crochets along the top of this piece to match the stitches along the bottom and our foundation row. So chain 1, turn our work. So let's see here. We did 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I know it definitely can't be 5, but I'm thinking it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to start going for it. And this is usually how I do it when I'm creating for others and doing custom projects and stuff like that and writing up the patterns. I just kind of go for it, and if it doesn't end up working, it's super simple to just pull your work out and start again until you achieve the look that you would like. But because in the beginning that we did that 1 double crochet and then skip 3 spaces, in this first one I'm going to do 3 single crochets. So a total of 4 so far. I single crocheted into the top of the single crochet in our picot. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There's 13, 14, 16, 19, and 20, 21. Okay, so we have a few extras, but that's okay. 22, 23, 24, and I'm going to go ahead and work into what would be, I'm going to look over here on this side, how I work this. I know it looks a little wonky now, but it won't. There's my first stitch. Whoops. And it was worked into a double crochet. So the last one of this row, I'm going to skip over the next 2 chains there, and then work a single crochet, which I'm going to kind of pull it up and manipulate my stitches over just a tiny bit. This will definitely need blocking. It's not something I'm going to cover in this video, but it is the same amount of stitches, and it might even help for you guys to do maybe one more row of your single crochets to really get a nice blocked off look. And I know that this looks wonky, but as soon as you put it on a blocking board, if you have foam pieces or whatever, and you actually block it, having that row of single crochets is going to make it easier and straighter. And so that is the sequence for today. I appreciate everybody who has commented during this tutorial. I am going to, well, I'm going to post the photo in the comments section of this video, but just real quick before I jump off, I always like to flip the camera over to make it a little bit more personal and say hi to everybody, and I don't know, give more of a personal thank you for continuing to support my little naughty hobby and all of my yarn shenanigans. If you're new here, I'll give you a little peek of the old craft room. I have a little bit of a yarn hoarding problem, but I think most naughty hookers do. My kids have been pretty excellent aside from leeching off of my bandwidth with their Roblox, which if that's the biggest problem I have to face with them today, I'd say I'm doing pretty dang good. I think for next week, if you guys want to join me for another live tutorial, if this was easy to follow for you guys today, please leave a comment letting me know. But if you'd like to see another tutorial, next week's is going to be on this new blanket stitch, which I'm not quite finished. You've probably seen this like all over my page that I've been working on. It's a lovely ombre though. And very simple technique. I'm going to be this, I definitely put this sequence together with beginner crocheters in mind. And really all it consists of is double crochets, post double crochets. That's about it. But it does give this lovely, I think it's this side that's my favorite. Let me show you guys. I'm using a cotton blend yarn with this, which just, I love cotton. I've told you guys so many times I love cotton. But to get like a closer up of, I guess, what the special stitches will look like, either side could be used as like the right side Oftentimes in patterns, you'll see like on the right side or the wrong side. Girl, there's no wrong side to this pattern. It's all right. So here is the other side, which just looks slightly different. And you can really see those post stitches. But that's all I have for you guys today, and I really look forward to catching up with you again. There will be more details posted on that blanket stitch tutorial probably tomorrow, I would imagine. But yeah, that's it. If you guys have a stitch technique or sequence or whatever that you would like to learn that you haven't found a pattern that works for you, please drop a comment right down here. Let me know, and I will do my best to get one written up for you or help you to figure it out, whatever it is. I love hearing from you guys and connecting with you. I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I'll chat with you all real soon. Happy hooking. See you later.